Welcome, friends, to Let's Play Rule the Waves 3 as Germany, starting in 1935. It's the very beginning of 1959. It's episode 88, and we are, frankly, looking to fight a war with someone, anyone. I grew frustrated in the last year trying to provoke the British, who kept on climbing up to 11 and then descending back down again in the tensions. So I turned my attentions to the Soviet Union. I think in retrospect that was probably a mistake because the Soviet Union are already at war with Japan and probably don't want to take on more than they can chew or something like that. So I'll probably turn back to trying to poke Britain again and see what comes. But for now, let's have a little look at the previous year in review. Of our heavy cruisers, guided missiles, 2 have been built. 1 is near completion. And the question mark is, do I want to start a 4th one? Now, I slightly got distracted by modernizing the 2 obsolete Berlin classes and have given them a light well, actually quite a substantial modernization because I redid their engines because they were running out of puff. And I got 2 light cruisers with SAMs for the price of 1. Of course, I set them off 1 turn before twin SAM launchers became a thing, so quite a few of my light cruisers might have to nip in for a little bit of a refresh to double their SAM volley ability, because that seemed like a good thing. I resumed my guided missile submarines, finally, and I've set to auto another set. Now, that will tick off the amount that I'm spending, so at some point I'm going to have to pause that, maybe after half a dozen or something, and let my construction digest that. But, you know, for now, this seems like still a reasonable priority. In the air, my medium bomber got designed and is now in development, and I have space to request a new aircraft, which is probably going to be a new helicopter, but I'll have a look at that again. I reorganized my fleet slightly because the heavy cruisers needed to find a home, and the question was I going to put them all together in one big lump sum, or was I going to add them throughout the fleet? I decided on the lump sum. And I also adjusted some of my squadrons. So Flug 3, which is with my battle cruisers, I took a fighter squadron from the carrier forces and added them to Flug 3, and I took off a jet attack from Flug 3 and put them with the carrier forces just to make sure that in my surface strike group the cap is sufficient. And yeah, as mentioned, I turned to the Soviet Union as a possible future opponent. I mean, they may come good, but, you know, I'm not counting it, and I probably should push back and go back to the UK. 4 researches, all good. All good. So, missile cruiser, I don't have to have armor on my light cruisers anymore. Light air-to-surface missile means my light jet attack aircraft and my helicopters can have a little air-to-surface missile, which is nice. Airborne early warning, which is one of those background facilities which will extend my radar range, presumably extending my surface-to-surface missile and my SAM range, and of course double SAM launchers just at the very end of 1958. It's meant that the finances, which from my previous just buy things and not worry about it cash crisis into having a proper 5-year plan, my budget has increased 90,000. So, I mean, that's a huge lift. And oddly enough, I haven't really felt that flush with money as a consequence. My construction is only up a tiny amount. My funds have grown 5,000, and I'm like 1,000 or something like that in the black at the moment. And yeah, 4 more researchers. In terms of the tensions, we started the year with 8 against Britain and not much else happening. Those have sort of moved up to 9 with Britain after up and down, and 8 with the Soviet Union. But the Soviet Union is at war with the Soviet Union. Sorry, is at war with Japan. And Japan is not very friendly to Britain. So that's all kicking about, and the French, the Italians are also. No, I mean, so it feels like, you know, something could kick off. So yeah, that would be fun. Let's go over and look at where we are up to. First thing I want to do is just remind myself, what was the plan? So we are here, and 2 of these cruisers have finished, 1 remains, so at some point I'm expecting to build a 4th, and this is primarily for refreshing the battle cruisers, which, now that we've got twin launchers, is a really doable thing during 59. Okay, so here is a battle cruiser. This is the Graf Stauffenberg. I've removed a 15-inch gun, and to make way for 2 heavies and 1 medium SAM to give it a good amount of SAM poke. I think that's the technical term. I could go up to radar limit 6. There is no radar 6, but it does give you an increase in topside, so up to 260 from 152, but I don't need it, so we won't do that. If we look at the guns, we have obviously 8 remaining, which is still viable. 15 inches. There is an option to go to 14 inches because the 15 inch is quality 1, the 14 inch is quality 0, the 14 inch is quality 1. If we have a little look, you can see that we've got 29,500 in range, and at 15,000, which we'll use as a marker, 12.5 and 2. If we go down to 14 inch, the range, oddly enough, slightly goes, and at 15,000 we've got 12 and a bit and just under 2. So yeah, it's a little bit less performance, but you save a load of weight, like 1,000. Unfortunately, the cost goes through the roof. So now with 14 inches, it's 5,000. If I put it to the original 15 inches, it's only 2,000. So I'm not so flush with money that I'm prepared to spend £3,000 to get slightly inferior, if better quality guns. So that's a no from me. We have 10 3-inch dual-purpose, auto-loaded, supported by 2 AA directors for 35 heavy AA. We've got 7 medium radar-directed, no lights, because we haven't got any lights worth doing. It'll take 8 months and cost 2,000. So let's just double-check that that's all tickety-boo. Oh, interesting. Interesting. It now thinks it's a battleship rather than a battle cruiser. I imagine that's because the speed is at 30 knots, and if it was above 30 knots, it would still be a battle cruiser. Says, do I want to reclassify? Well, no, I don't. I can have improved secondary guns. I always forget the improvements, so let's just take that up to there and put in the auto-loading and thing. Okay, quality 2, 3-inch. Let's save that. No to BB, and we're good with that. Go to the rebuilding, and we're fine with that. And off it goes. And it'll take 8 months. All right. Still got 500 in the balance. I didn't expect that. So we could take the Reichsgraf and go and rebuild that as well. Now it says monthly cost 2,000. Okay, that might be a bit too rich. We'll just leave that a couple of months before we get on with the remainders. Okay, let's go into February. I mean, I am minded to... so, some more lovely guided missile stuff. Upheaval in the Falkland Isles. Send an expeditionary force to restore order. There's a chance we could take the colony. Well, someone has to shoulder the responsibilities. And hooray, it's under our administration. Who knew that would be a thing? Oh, okay. And a breakthrough. Well, let's hope which is nice. Signaling errors allows DD a scouting role. Okay. Friendly radar contacts are identified. Well, that sounds like a good thing. And another one. Okay. Improved. All right. This just lowers the number of accidents that you have on carriers, but welcome for all of that. Well, 2 in the first couple of months. That's pretty good. Okay, so the British have halted construction on a heavy cruiser because of financial difficulties, and the Soviet Union has halted construction on a carrier because of financial difficulties too. Good to see the British have popped up again in terms of tensions, just because I went to protect the Falklands, I mean. So yeah. That all seems good. Let's just go. I'm not seeing a foreign stations. Let's look at the area overview. So that does give us a South American East Coast base capacity. Who hasn't wanted one of those? But it doesn't require any foreign stations. So that's very nice. Good. Just noticing in the Mediterranean, I've got a lot of tonnage. I need 11,000. I got 24,000. So I might just look at that. Actually, first off, I'm just moving my fleet from the Baltic back to Northern Europe since the British have gone to 10 and the Soviet Union is at a pesky 8. Okay, I've just been thinking about behind the scenes. I've created 2 foreign stations. So the Africa Geesveder is oddly enough for West Africa. The Mittelmeer is for the Mediterranean. And I had a couple of quite good cruisers in here. So I've taken those out and put them into Aufklärung 2, Reconnaissance 2 or Scouting 2. These are primarily gun cruisers. Emden and Kiel classes. They probably need some SAM love when they come in for some refits. The Leinen 1 is the battle cruisers. Leinen 2 is the old heavy cruisers with SAMs. Flug 3 are the 2 of the old carriers with cap. Luftabwehr Air Defense 3 is some light cruisers with SAMs. Then in the strike, Flug 1 is the fleet carriers. Flug 2 is the other 2 old carriers, now with more strike aeroplanes. Luftabwehr 1 and 2 are SAM-armed light cruisers, and Leinen 3 are the new heavy cruisers with guided missiles. So that's where we're up to with all of that. Always have to just, you don't have to, but I like to, optimize things. I'll own my mild obsessive nature. What's happened here? The old run aground nonsense. Of course, I'm going to send a strong squadron to underline the point of returning our ship with the benefit of +1 prestige and +2 tensions. So hooray. Let's see who gets very annoyed with that, if anybody. No super great news. Japan has trouble mastering the principles of search and rescue helicopters. That feels like that should have been a long time ago. In fact, mentioning helicopters, I now recall that I have spare capacity, 8 months more for this medium bomber, so I can request a new airplane. So my helicopter is quite old, 55, so that would definitely be a candidate. But I think my heavy jet fighter at 56 probably should take my priority. It's only just early middle-aged, but let's not let it get old, shall we? So heavy jet fighter. I think speed is still a thing. Other nations have slightly faster heavy jets, and my light jet is nearly 700 nautical miles an hour. So speed first, and the ever popular reliability for my priorities for that. So yeah, let's see what that brings up in 10 months' time at the end of the year. So I'm just looking at the monthly balance. I think it's probably time to turn off the submarines. Yeah, I've got 5 new builds and then 5 old builds finishing off. So 10 seems enough. So I'm going to turn that off. We don't want to knacker ourselves with too much financial debt. Building, 10 submarines is quite a lot. And yeah, we'll tootle into April. So what's this helicopter looking like? You see, there you go. Top speed 120, combat radius 100. I don't think that's hugely different from my current helicopter. So I think the choice of the heavy jet fighter was the right one. New research. So rocket-assisted torpedoes increases the efficiency of ASW mortars. Well, that's nice. So we'll have that. Dornier's developed a new helicopter. Anyhow, so let's see if there's a great deal of difference. So yeah, as I suspected, tiny bit faster, minuscule amount longer ranged, less maneuverable, less tough. So I'm going to say no, because I don't want to lose this good reliability in my existing Junkers 226 helicopter. So we will say no to that. Thanks for trying. Indecisive engagement between Soviet Union and Japan. Oh yeah, I've forgotten they were at war. And another one. Japanese lose a light cruiser. Okay, Soviet Union is in financial difficulties, always good to know. So, although the tensions have shot up for some reason, I don't think we're going to go to war with them. I've just moved my fleet out of the Baltic, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a message from the leader saying, go stick your fleet back in the Baltic. We've got a new average ability Fregattenkapitan, so I will see if they can find some employment, because that rank is really in short supply of good ones. So let's close that. And those heightened tensions didn't last long. Look, Britain's down to 9, France is down to 7, Soviet Union's up to 10, but meh. So yeah, nothing to worry about there. And so to May 1959. In you come, boys. And there's the Bismarck. Not sure I'm thrilled with the name, actually. Automatically, somebody pointed out Bismarck and Tirpitz. Where do those names come from? Well, they were automatically generated. I think I'd prefer, Scheer and Hipper or something, but okay. The old regatta. So I don't think this is a good time, and so, because otherwise it'll lower tension. I'm noticing my unrest is level 3. I mean, I say I'm noticing, just noticed. Obviously, I'd completely failed to notice to go to level 2. So, yeah, we are at, very high defense spending, 801. I mean, that's a thing. But no, I don't think. Obviously, the Führer might be a little bit annoyed with us. Improved ECM. Well, who doesn't like having their electronic countermeasures being improved? Reduces enemy cap and AA effectiveness and missile hit rates. Well, that's a bumper tech, isn't it? Oh, and another one. Wow. I mean, it's only May, and we already have more techs come through than we had all last year. Light SAM mounts. Well, that seems like something that would help some of the destroyers. So, the Soviet Union struggling to fund 2 carriers, and, oh, look, our new bomber is a mechanic's dream. So, that's all very lovely. Oh no, it's not that. It's the light jet fighter. Okay, well that's fine. Let's be kind to Mechanics Day, and then 3,800 in the balance. Well, if that doesn't say let's refit another battlecruiser, I don't know what. Actually, not that. Okay, so let's have a play with refitting the venerable Graf Spee. So I've taken off the X turret to give us some weight to play with, 6 medium AA guns, a couple of directors with 10 3-inch anti-aircraft, anti-missile for 45 heavy AA, and then it already had a medium SAM, so adding in 2 extra heavy SAMs has used all of the weight in the world. So that's all fine. I did look to add a one of these new spanking light SAMs, but they're not quite as light as I imagined. If we just put it into, say, Q amidships, it uses 577 tons. So yeah, that's a bit heavier than I thought, even though here it says 342 in that weird way that it does. So that's no to light SAMs. This is all about heavy SAMs, giving us some level of protection, shooting down aeroplanes before they let loose their air-to-surface missiles. So I'm pretty happy with that. I would love to actually, yeah, if we got rid of some nonsense conning tower, gave ourselves 500 tons, because 85 rounds is just not enough. This will take this to 12 months, but yeah, just 15 more rounds per barrel just will give us longer legs, because we've had battles where the Graf Spee has just run out of ammunition because the AI always puts the Graf Spee as the lead unit because it's got the heaviest guns. I mean, whilst we're making that, we could downgrade the 16 inches to 15 inches, but look at the cost, from 1,700 to 5,700. So no, we're not doing that. Although strangely, the time has shortened to 8. That's a bit odd. So yes, I could take the ammunition up to the kinds of levels that I have with the other ships. But yeah, that's far too expensive. 46,000. Let's just take this down again. Let's pop that back up. So yeah, we can go to 100. That's fine. And instead of 46, it's 21. So yeah, longer but less. So let's do that. So I'm just pausing because, yes, the 85 rounds was a thing, but if I take it back down to 85, gives a bit of weight remaining, which is always nice, and takes the cost down to 20,000. Seems we've lost a little bit, but of course, with that extra weight, I don't think we can add an extra SAM. Let's do a medium. Let's add it into, let's put it into C. Oof, only slightly more. That's funny, isn't it? So the SAM here at C is 570, whereas at R, it's so much more expensive. Let's delete that and see if we can give ourselves a less expensive. So let's put it in W. So yeah, that's also, just ignore how ugly that is. And yeah, so I'm preferring that, and then we could not increase the guns. We could increase that slightly and give ourselves 2 of those. Okay, I feel I need to reset this. Let me just reset this, because I'm oh, and also, yeah, rate of fire. Okay, let me reset this. Okay, I restarted the game. It was playing up, so it wouldn't let me reduce the conning tower armor down to 0. So I've reduced the conning tower. I've taken off a turret. I have added in the 2 heavy SAMs and 1 medium SAM. I've increased the 3 inches and the mediums and the AA to 102. So very strong in surface action and very strong in air defense, which is kind of what I would like. Let's just see if it's okay with that. It's okay with that. And so, yeah, let's go rebuild that one. Still with 2,000 to go, so that's quite nice. With tension so high, I'm reluctant to put in everybody. So the Stauffenberg still has 4 months, the Graf Spee has 8 months, so I'll just wait until the Stauffenberg has finished. Let's go to June and see what happens here. Right, well, we'll just send stuff back into the Baltic again. So, the opportunity to increase tensions, but with Italy. I don't really want to increase tensions with Italy. Let's push for an international force, which is sort of like a little bit tension. Ignored us and got it anyhow. It didn't really do much there, but it still managed to increase tensions with Italy. Another wonderful tech. That's great. Low-level air attacks. That's our 6th tech in less than 6 months. Reduces hit chances of enemy heavy and medium SAMs on stuff. I'm not bothered with the air bases. Some stuff going on here. Yeah, nothing too interesting there. Okay, so let's just move the fleet around. I've just moved a whole pile of random stuff to the Baltic. Bismarck is still working up. Let's go into July. Oh. A lack of ships on foreign stations. I'm not showing that. Good old-fashioned disarmament conference. I did wonder vaguely why nothing like that had happened. I don't want to reduce things particularly, although my unrest is at 3. So yeah, we'll keep up appearances of being reasonable. Solemn decorations. And another tech. Okay. And oh, finally, 3,800 displacement destroyers. US light jet faster than ours. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Nothing of great import there. Ah, okay. One of our... Perhaps I've sent something to the Baltic by accident. Probably. Our West African ship accidentally towards the Baltic. Let's send it back and let's just put it onto foreign station as well to fulfill the requirement. Right. So that's the first 6 months. Lashings and lashings of excellent techs have come through, so that's nice. Tensions are decently high, although I still feel no one wants to really go to war with us. So, yeah, let's see what the second half of 1959 brings for us all in the next episode. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.